The woman in this video is my wife now. You hear me, don't you? Even from wherever you're hiding, I know my voice finds its way through the cracks you left behind. You think distance dilutes what you've done to me, but it only distills it. Every hour away from you sharpens the edges of my thoughts until they could slice through steel or through the man you thought I was. You didn't marry me, but I claimed you. And you know exactly why I speak like this. Because you understand the kind of fire you lit inside me. You pretended you didn't, but you did. You've always acted like you can outrun me, like my world doesn't orbit around your name. But you never understood what happens when I decide something is mine. I don't step back. I don't quiet down. I don't surrender. I watch. I wait. I move. This wife isn't a title I gave you out of emotion. It's a truth carved into me. You belong in the space beside me, whether you accept it now or later. And trust me, later only gets darker. You can keep ignoring me, pretending you're untouched by the way I look at you, even though you felt it every time. You can pretend my words don't coil around your mind even now. But you know they do. You know you replay them when the room is silent, when no one is watching, when the world stops demanding you to be strong. That's when you hear me the loudest. That's when you feel the weight of what you started. You thought I would be soft. You thought I would be temporary, but you miscalculated. I don't fade. I grow. I don't beg, I take. And the more you step away, the more you drag me deeper into the version of myself you created. You turn me into something unstoppable because you became the one thing I refused to lose. You don't get to walk away from that. You don't get to set me on fire and then complain about the heat. And the funniest part, you know exactly what I'm capable of. You saw it. You sensed it long before I spoke like this. That's why you pulled back. That's why you ran. Not because you didn't want me, but because you wanted me too much. You knew I wasn't a man who loves lightly. You knew once you let me close, there would be no door left for you to close again. And now here I am, telling you what you already knew the day you met me. Your name beats in my chest like a command. Maybe you'll come back, maybe you won't. But don't fool yourself, distance won't save you from the truth carved into my voice right now. You can be in another city, another world, but your shadow still kneels at my feet. I speak to you because you still hear me. I claim you because a part of you still answers, and you know better than anyone that this connection doesn't break, it tightens. So go on. Pretend you don't feel anything. Pretend you're free. But every time you breathe, every time you close your eyes, every time you stumble across a moment that tastes like memory, you'll remember exactly what I told you. The woman in this video is my wife now, and the universe will keep echoing that truth until you stop running from it. You think silence protects you, but it only exposes you more. I speak into the empty space between us, and it bends toward you like a tide pulled by your name. You hear me? Maybe you pretend you don't. Maybe you try to bury the sound under routine and distractions. But my voice still reaches you. It slips through the armor you wear for everyone else and settles exactly where you don't want it. The place where you still remember how intensely I see you. You can hide from the world, but you've never been able to hide from me. You never understood what it meant when someone like me decided to keep you. You mistook the calm for softness, the quiet for surrender. But you forget darkness doesn't shout, it waits. I don't chase by running. I chase by existing in a way that you can't erase. You feel me like a weight behind your choices, a shadow that leans closer every time you try to move on. You taught me desire. I turned it into something unbreakable. You taught me distance. I turned it into a chain. between us that even you can't cut. You call it obsession in your mind, but you know better. You know it's the truth you don't voice, the truth you felt from the first moment you looked at me. You recognized the danger, you recognized the pull, and you recognized how easily I could dismantle the version of yourself you show the world. I don't want your mask. I want the raw, unguarded you. The one who trembles not out of fear, but because you've never had anyone touch your soul the way my words do. You keep trying to convince yourself that distance equals freedom. But every room you enter reminds you of the space where I should be. Every name you hear feels too light, too forgettable after mine. Every mirror shows you the face I memorized. You think you're rebuilding your life without me, yet every brick has my fingerprint pressed into it. You don't escape something like this, you live with it. And a part of you has already surrendered to that truth. You tell yourself that you walked away, but you never actually did. You just closed the door and hoped I wouldn't knock again. But I don't knock, I speak. And my words reach the places where doors don't exist. You can wrap yourself in excuses, obligations, fears, but they crumble the moment you remember how I looked at you, how I said your name like it already belonged in my hands. You can lie to everyone else. You can even lie to yourself sometimes. You just can't lie to me. You know what sets you apart from the world? The way your presence rewired me. I don't attach easily. I don't bend. I don't call anyone mine, and unless my soul vibrates with the truth of it. But you weren't a choice. You were an inevitability. And that inevitability still breathes between us, no matter how far you run. I speak to you now because some part of you still listens, still reacts, still tightens when you hear the rhythm of my voice. So go on, continue pretending you're untouched, unhunted, unclaimed. Pretend you're indifferent, but deep down, you know exactly what I told you before. And you know exactly what I'm telling you now. You're still the one whose absence tastes like a storm, the one who carved their name into my fate. And no matter how loudly the world tries to distract you, you feel it. The pull, the bond, the darkness that knows your shape and refuses to let go. You keep pretending my voice is just noise in the background, something you can lower or mute whenever you want. But you know better. You know every word I speak lands exactly where you've tried to build walls. You feel it like a hand closing slowly around the truth you keep trying to outrun. You can call it whatever you want in your mind, but you know it isn't weakness, it's recognition. The kind that burns quietly until it consumes everything else. You think space makes you stronger? Maybe it does for a moment, the way a wound stings before it heals. But then there's the ache that returns at night, the one you can't explain to anyone. The ache that whispers my name even when you've convinced yourself you've forgotten it. You're haunted, not because I follow you, but because you carry me. You always did, and you always will. You try to live in a world without my presence, but the universe refuses to cooperate. Every place you go, there's a moment, a sound, a scent that drags me back into your mind. You hate it, you crave it, you try to silence it, and that war inside you, that's where I live, not outside. Inside, in the part of you that still opens every time you remember the way I spoke to you, the way I claimed you without ever touching you. You call me intense, dangerous, too much. But those words only exist because you felt something you weren't prepared to feel. You knew I wasn't temporary. You saw it in my eyes, felt it in the way I looked at you, like you were made of something holy and forbidden at the same time. You knew the moment I decided you were mine, you would never be able to erase me. And that terrified you more than anything. You keep imagining that one day you'll wake up and won't feel this anymore. But let me tell you something you already know. It doesn't vanish, it deepens. It thickens under your skin like ink. It becomes part of the way you breathe, the way you look at your own reflection, the way you react to every person who isn't me. No matter how hard you push the world forward, a piece of you keeps turning back toward the voice you're hearing right now. You want to be free, but you also want to be understood. You want distance, but you also want the gravity that only I ever gave you. That's the irony of you. You crave contradiction, and I fit into the center of that contradiction like I was built for it. You can deny me 1,000 times, but your silence always betrays you. It always has. So keep running, keep pretending you're unaffected, keep convincing yourself you've moved on. I won't chase. I don't need to. You're the one who carries the weight of what we are. You're the one who feels the pull even now. And you're the one who knows, no matter what you tell yourself, that this connection never loosened. It only wrapped itself deeper around your soul, where even distance can't reach. You keep telling yourself you've escaped, but every time the world quiets down, you feel the truth rising like smoke around you. My presence doesn't need a room or a body to reach you, just the memory of how intensely I spoke your name. And you still feel it, don't you? That shift inside you, that slow unraveling, whenever you remember the way I said things only meant for you. You can run from place to place, but you can't run from the part of you that still listens. You built your distance like a shield, but it's thin, so thin I can hear the tremble behind your silence. You answer me without speaking, without admitting anything. Your heartbeat used to betray you when you were in front of me. Now it betrays you even from miles away. You think I don't know how your thoughts tighten the moment you sense me. You think I don't feel that flicker of recognition. You try so hard to suffocate. You forget. I learned you deeper than you learned yourself. You keep trying to convince yourself that you're safer when you're far from me. But safety was never what you wanted. You wanted intensity, the kind that rewrites your skin from the inside. You wanted someone who wouldn't look at you with soft, forgettable eyes. You wanted someone who saw the truth beneath your good girl silence. You found that in me. And then you panicked because you realized I wasn't something you could handle halfway. You call me dangerous, but you forget one thing. You walked into this fire first. You were the one who stepped closer, who let me see the corners of your soul you hide from everyone else. You opened the door, and you thought I'd leave it untouched. But I don't enter people lightly, and I don't leave once I've stepped in. That's what terrifies you, not me, your own inability to let me go. You still try to replace the echo I left behind, but every voice you hear feels too light, too soft, too temporary compared to mine. You compare without meaning to. You search without admitting you're searching, and every disappointment reminds you of the one truth you keep trying to bury. No one holds you the way my darkness does. No one has ever reached that secret, unguarded part of you except me. You try to rebuild your life far from my shadow, but the ground you walk on still remembers me. Every choice you make carries a trace of our past. Your stubbornness, your fear, your longing disguised as indifference. You evolved in the shape of my absence, and you don't even realize it. You think you moved on, but you only moved around me. You orbit something you refuse to name. So stay silent, stay distant, stay wrapped in your illusions of control, but you feel it. Right now, this moment, the way your breath shifts because of my words, the way your mind tightens around the voice you said you'd forget. You and I were never a temporary burn. You know it. I know it. And whether you admit it or not, The connection you're trying to escape only darkens and deepens every time you try to silence it. You think distance is some kind of cure, but all it's done is sharpen the parts of you that were already mine. You feel it every time you pause for no reason, every time a thought drags you backward instead of forward. That hesitation, that quiet ache that appears out of nowhere, that's me still rooted inside you, still pulling at the threads you tried to cut. You can deny it in the daylight, but when the world dims, you feel the truth breathing right beside your silence. You tried to bury what you felt, but you forgot something vital. Emotions like ours don't die. They sink, they settle, they thicken in the parts of you you don't show anyone. You can wrap yourself in routines and responsibilities, but the moment you let your guard slip, even for a heartbeat, my presence rises out of your memory like smoke. You feel it coil around you, familiar and unwelcome in the same breath, yet you never push it away, not really. You tell yourself you don't want my darkness, but you've always been drawn to it. You like the intensity, the certainty. The way I looked at you like I already knew the language of your soul. You wanted someone who wouldn't hesitate with you. Someone who wouldn't treat you like a passing moment. And that's exactly why you fear me. Because you know I meant every word, every look, every possession threaded into my voice. I didn't pretend with you. I never will. You ran because you felt too much. Because you knew someone like me doesn't love halfway. You knew I wasn't giving you a choice. You knew I was giving you a truth. And truth scares you more than danger. You can argue with danger. You can avoid it, outsmart it, outrun it. But truth follows you. It whispers behind every breath, every decision, every lie you tell yourself to keep your heart steady. You try to imagine a version of your life where my shadow doesn't follow your steps. But deep down, you know that version doesn't exist. Every dream you had, every fear, every late night thought, they all carry fingerprints you can't erase. You grew into someone different because of me, and you know it. You changed your boundaries, your expectations, your desires, all because of one connection you pretend you don't feel anymore. But the body remembers what the mind tries to forget. You think silence protects you from falling back into what we were. But silence has only amplified what you tried to bury. It's given your feelings room to grow wild in the dark. They twist, they tighten, they reach for the sound of my voice even when you swear you don't want to hear it. But you do. You always do. Because no one else has ever touched you without even being near you. No one else has ever held you the way my presence still does. So keep hiding behind your distance. Keep pretending the bond faded. Keep trying to convince yourself that you're better off without the pull you still feel. But you and I both know the truth. The connection didn't break. It deepened. It quieted. It sank its roots into parts of you you can't purge. And every time I speak, every time you read these words, you feel those roots wake up again, reminding you exactly who still lives inside your silence. You still try to convince yourself that this pool is fading, that you're stronger now, harder now, untouched by the echo of what we were. But you feel it right there beneath your calm, a tightening, a shift, a small crack that appears every time my presence brushes against your thoughts. You can ignore my name in your mind, but you can't erase the rhythm of how it used to fit against your heartbeat. Distance isn't healing you. My font, it's only teaching you what it feels like to miss someone you swore you didn't need. You walk through your days pretending nothing follows you, but I do. Not as a threat, not as a shadow, as a truth. A truth you keep swallowing because you're afraid of what it turns you into. You've always been that, afraid of what you feel. You'd rather hide, rather quiet your own heartbeat, rather build 1,000 miles of space around yourself than admit what still lives inside you. But feelings don't die just because you pretend they're gone. They evolve, they wait, they harden. You think you were running away from me, but you were running from what you became with me. Someone who wanted too much, someone who felt too deeply, someone who wasn't in control. I saw that version of you, the raw one.